Hello and welcome to the next lecture. Today we're going to speak a little bit about the reactive clients for the MySQL and Postgres. That's the tool that supports it right now with the Vertex. So I'm recording this the second time because of the issue with the sound. Hope this time it will work correctly. And what I want to say is that the reactive approach is something different from the normal. So the first thing, of course, is this: it's more of asynchronous. So you're doing asynchronous requests. So in reactive approach, you have some producer that will do some action in the future, then once it's done, it's not required to be asynchronous, but it's just more of this way. So when it's done, it calls the callback that you provided, and this callback will do some action. So this allows you to change some actions. For example, like a stream API, that's kinda this approach. So you can, for example, filter data, right? And then in the next chain, you can call another one, so map or something like this, right? So you can filter, then map it, then filter again, something like this. So let's create a project. Yeah, with MySQL, it's helpful because it's more of asynchronous. And you don't need to like wait for something, but it's more like, you can like for example, Reactive Java is also the same way. So if you know the Reactive Java, this might be helpful for you. And the most useful example of the reactive approach is databases. So in this case, you can see how it's working. So we'll put a reactive MySQL client and also REST easy JSON-B as well to visualize our data. And we have default command Quarkus Backend plugin create, tech.now, reactive database client as a name of the project, and then we have book resource that will map to the book and actually books whatever. So let's create a project. It will be fast. We have two more extensions, and let's open the project, right? Okay, so project is opened, and we can firstly I'll call git init just so that I won't commit anything there. So let's go to the resources firstly, and we have empty resources. So we need to add a connection to our database. So let's firstly verify that our database is working, Docker PS, and it's not working. Okay, so let's just start your Docker start, and then my hash of the MySQL. And so you can see Docker PS, you have Quarkus DB, our Quarkus DB. You can also start run Docker start Quarkus DB if you follow the previous lectures. So okay, it's there. And now we can add few more lines of code, which is this one. So we have a data source as always, as in previous options, as previous videos, and you have a URL, name, and password, right? So the only difference is that we have this line Vertex reactive. Before the GDBC, actually there is a GDBC is not required. So instead of GDBC, you put the Vertex reactive here. And this will specify how you connect. So this is a little bit different, but you'll see why. So yeah, so now we can go to our book resource folder, and let's inject one of the fields, one of the new fields. So it's called the MySQL pool, but we need to use Axel, this one. So this will be more correct. We can call it pool, for example, right? So here, let's actually observe the startup event, right? So public void on start observes startup event, name, whatever. So now we can call a pool, and we can call a query here, and you can see that we have a completion stage instead of the if you call the other MySQL pool. So be aware that you need to call the Axel one. So I'll make it firstly larger. So you have an Axel, you should have this Axel here in order to make it correct. So you can call a query, of course, and then let's say drop table if exists books, like this, and then you can call then compose, and now you have a function. And I hope you're using Java 8. So now you can call, for example, you can call again pool query, and then you can create table books, and for example, I don't know, title text, pages int, like this, right? So something like this, and let's insert also some of the data. So we don't need it. So it is basically a completion. You can see that it has a row set row, but we don't need it at all. So you can just call it whatever you like. So let's make one more query, which will be insert into books values. So title test book, and then 200, right? Something like this. So now we have this thing here. You can call the toCompletable future, and then you can call join. So that's it. We don't need any more of the actions here, and we don't need any output. So this will be as is, right? So now we can actually try to start it. Let's see if it works. So let's go to this folder called Reactive Client, database client, right? And let's call Maven v Quarkus dev, like this, right? So let's see how it will work. All right, so we can actually celebrate the new. I will celebrate. You won't, because it will be like in a few months. But you can see that we just stepped into the Quarkus 1.3.0 final, and we have a nice header here as well. So yeah, that's surprising a little bit, but yes, let's continue. You can see that it's started and nothing special happened. We can, of course, join our, let's try to query our book, and you can see that we have actually a book, I think, right? Yeah, so we should have a book, and you can see hello. And I think we also can open database and look into it. So we have a localhost root database will be hello, I think. Hello, if it's not correct. So yeah, so let's open it up and let's see what we have here. And it should be ideally, actually I'm wrong, we have a 3310 here. Apply, okay. So we have one schema. I think it should be more, but okay. So yeah, so we have a books here, and you can see that we have a test book pages 200. So it's working as is. It's working correctly. So it also says now that you can change it to mutiny, like this, and then you have a then. You can change it to then, and here then as well, and then to I think it should be. For example, subscribe as completion stage, and then join. So that's another example if you're using the new instead of the outdated API. So we might use this one in this lecture. So, but the difference is not like there is no difference. So you have two different types. So you have Excel MySQL pool, and then you have Mutiny MySQL pool. So depending on what you decide to use. And so yeah, so let's create a book actually. Let's create a book. Let's call it, the class will be book here. So we have let's use a public what we had, public string title, public integer pages, right? Something like this. So we have this thing. So now we can do a public, we can create an empty constructor if needed. And let's create a public static book from. This will be helpful later. And here we need to specify a row. I think it should be just a row. We'll see if it's correct. So we can use a row here, and we can just call row get string title. So title, we can call new book, right? Book. So book title equals to get string, and then book pages equals get integer pages. So so like this, and just let's return a book as well, like this. And yeah, so this method will be useful when we have a row. Okay, so now let's go back to our book resource, right? And let's change it to completable stage. And here we'll have a list of books. So now we need to change it to correct type. Let's return a pool query, and then you can put a select everything from books, right? So we can also limit or filter if you want. For now we'll use it as is, and then we'll call the then apply. And so here you will have a row set. I think it's actually rows, right? Yeah. So we'll have a rows here. So a rows is a row set of row. So you can just call rows for I. We'll use it like this. Rows. So we can also actually call rows for a row in rows, like for each. And then we just do the magic. Let's create a new array list here of book, like this, books. So books, add a row, actually book from row, like this. So this will convert the, what's the difference? So I think we're using the incorrect type of the row, so you need to change it to Excel, because we use Excel for now. And yeah, so now we can also call, so now we can just return an array list, right? So which is called return books, like this, and the method is ready. So as you can see, we can call the postman here with a get, and you'll see that we have book because we have a text plain application. Let's change it to application.json, and you will see that we have pages 200 title test book. So it's a good example how to use it with you know, the asynchronous approach. And so you just query data and then apply some questions. So you can also just call other options here: handle, accept, run after, when complete, you know, then run and do whatever you want. So you can just call then apply again, and you have their books, right? And so you can just books, maybe add or something, right? And put one more book here, so you can put a new book, right? Something like this. And then return books again. So this is a bad example, but yeah, so now you can see that we have two books, one of which empty, but you get the idea, right? So you can chain the requests, chain the actions with the the anonymous functions or lambda functions. So once the Excel is outdated, let me actually show you how to use the mutiny. So let's convert it to mutiny here. Then we need to change it to then. So we need to, firstly, I think we need to call then here, and then subscribe as completable stage, completion stage, sorry, and then join. So this part is ready, nothing actually changed. Here we'll need to change it to then, and before that, I think we'll need to map it, flat map. So here we'll have let's see what we actually have it. So it, in our case, will be a row set of rows. That's actually perfect. So here we can just copy it over here. So instead of then, we'll use a flat map, which is more close to Rx Java, right? So we have a rows here, so let's call it rows, like this. And here we'll need to change it from to I mean the Excel, we need to change it to mutiny as well. Let me actually make it larger for you. So nothing changes in the code in this part, but you will see that we return the books, and it expects the uni. So I think we actually need the map in this case. Sorry about that, but yeah, we'll need the map here. And then we don't need this part anymore. I was just showing you around how it works. And then we need to call the subscribe as completion future stage join. So this is something like this. So now you can see that we have some differences, which is we have a completion stage and actually, sorry, we don't need a join. Okay, so now we have a problem that we have an array list, but it's expected list. So this is really easy to fix. So you can either put here a list like this, and this will fix all the issues, or you can specify that it's a list, but just it's better to do it like this. And so we just covered up that we had before. So let's say another book. So let's say another test book here, and then we have 300 pages, right? So something like this. So let's go to Postman one more, and then let's call it get. And you can see that we have 2 books, test book, another book, and we just covered from Axel to Mutiny. So Mutiny is a superior library that's used, or approach that is used for asynchronous calls, the reactive calls, sorry. And it's something like mono in Spring. So the methods are followed by conveniences of the reactive approach. So you have a map, flap map, then, and some more of them as well. So yeah, now you know how to use 2 approaches with the reactive approach for the Axel and Mutiny. So I suggest you to use the second one because it's new and will be supported. The Axel probably will be discarded in the shortest future. So yeah, so now either way you know how to use the reactive approach with the databases in Quarkus, and you can see that it's really easy and useful. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.